Hi everyone, I am Kyungmi Lim from Yonsei University. Today I'll be presenting on the topic Strategic Self-Presentation and its effect on first date success. As you can see from the recent popularity of dating reality shows like Love is Blind or The Bachelor, dating is a universal topic of interest. According to prior research, first impressions and feelings of attraction are formed within an extremely short time, just a few hundred milliseconds. The importance of this quick first impression is even greater today. Unlike in the past, when people pursued natural encounters, the trend has shifted to artificial encounters, such as dates arranged via apps like Tinder or Hinge. This artificial environment, much like the 4-minute speed dating we will analyze, creates a situation where one must appeal to others within an extremely limited time. Therefore, how one effectively presents oneself in these brief encounters has become critical for success, and this is where we identified the need for our research. We derived our research questions by building upon prior studies. First, classic studies like Fissman identified clear gender differences in preferences, revealing that men prioritize attractiveness, while women prioritize intelligence. This research focused on these core traits. We sought to expand on this by asking, what about other key traits like sincerity or humor? Second, Rinaldi suggested that self-exaggeration can be beneficial. We wanted to explore this further by asking, which specific traits are beneficial to exaggerate and which are harmful? Third, while large language models are being widely adopted in the social sciences, systematic comparative studies on actual human behavior data are still rare. Therefore, we asked, can LLMs be a more efficient analytical tool than traditional statistical models? Based on this, we established 3 research questions. First, what effect do comprehensive traits have on first date success? Second, for which traits is bluffing or self-exaggeration positive, and for which is it negative? Third, can LLMs be a more efficient analytical tool than traditional logistic regression? Our contributions lie in directly answering these. First, we analyzed 6 key traits: attractiveness, sincerity, intelligence, fun, ambition, and shared interest, and found that fun was positive while sincerity and ambition were surprisingly negative. Second, we quantified bluffing, validating the difference between exaggerating different traits. Finally, we showed that LLMs offer comparable predictive performance with greater efficiency and flexibility, highlighting their potential as a research tool. The data we used is from the Columbia University Speed Dating Experiment from 2002 to 2004. The design was as follows. First, before the event, participants self-rated their own traits. Second, they engaged in a 4-minute speed dates. Third, after the date, they rated their partner's traits and made a binary yes or no decision for a second date. Our final dataset includes approximately 7,000 of those encounters. To prepare the data, we focused on 2 key steps. First, to ensure objectivity, we used the partner's rating of the participant as our independent variables, not the self-rating. Second, we performed variable exclusion, removing variables like to avoid multicollinearity, or career because of its high variance. This resulted in our final dataset of independent variables, which are age and the 6 partner-rated traits, and 1 dependent variable, which is date success. Our analysis proceeds in 3 parts, corresponding to our 3 research questions. First, we use logistic regression to identify key success factors and gender differences. Second, we define and analyze a bluffing variable to quantify self-presentation strategy. And third, we conduct a performance comparison between our baseline logistic model and several modern LLMs. Our first methodology is logistic regression. We chose this because our dependent variable is binary, either 0 or 1. The process was straightforward. We used the partners' ratings as independent variables to predict date success. We then ran separate models for male and female participants to clearly identify and compare gender differences in selection criteria. The formula is shown as below. Our second methodology introduces the bluffing variable to analyze self-presentation. We define this with a simple formula. Our participants' bluffing score is the self-rating minus the average partner rating they received. For example, if a participant rated their own attractiveness as an 8, but their partners rated them at a 6 on average, their bluffing score for that trait would be +2. A positive value means the participant is self-exaggerating, while a negative value indicates modesty. We then use these bluff scores for each trait, such as bluff attractiveness, as new independent variables in a logistic regression to see how they impacted the probability of success. Our third methodology was the LLM comparison, designed to test for efficiency. We used 4 models, including GPT-4o and GPT-o3. It's important to note that no fine-tuning was performed. We used prompt-based in-context learning. First, we used 80% of the data, which was our training set, into the prompt and instructed the LLM to learn the patterns. Then, we fed the remaining 20% the test set and asked for binary predictions. We used the F1 score to compare this performance against our logistic regression baseline. Now let's move on to results. This chart shows the findings for methodology 1. The pink bars represent men rating women, and the blue bars represent women rating men. The asterisks show significance. As you can see, attractiveness was the strongest predictor for both, but the coefficient for men was significantly higher than for women. Conversely, intelligence was a significant positive predictor only for women. As expected, both fun and shared interest were strong positive predictors for both genders. Interestingly, sincerity and ambition were negative predictors for both. This suggests that serious topics are perhaps less appropriate for such a short 4-minute conversation. Our second result analyzes the bluffing variable. The findings were interesting. Exaggerating variable traits, those you can see immediately, like attractiveness and fun, was highly negative. However, exaggerating hard-to-verify traits, like intelligence and ambition, was actually positive. This suggests it was perceived as confidence rather than arrogance. Our third result is the performance comparison. As you can see in the table, the GPT-o3 model achieved higher performance than the baseline logistic regression model. The key takeaway here is about modeling efficiency and flexibility. While both models used the same clean data, the LLM achieved this performance efficiently and in less time without us having to manually specify the model structure, test for linear assumptions, or explicitly add interaction terms. It demonstrated an ability to learn complex, nonlinear patterns directly from the data, making it a powerful, flexible, and more accessible tool for social science modeling. In conclusion, our research confirmed 3 main points. First, the gender differences. Men place significantly more weight on attractiveness, while women uniquely value intelligence. Second, the bluffing strategy. We found it detrimental to bluff verifiable traits, such as attractiveness, but beneficial to bluff hard-to-verify traits, such as intelligence. Last but not least, potential of LLMs. LLMs show comparable predictive performance to traditional models, but offer high potential as a more flexible and efficient analytical tool for complex behavioral patterns. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention.